And hello, happy Wednesday, my friends, and welcome to the reading of The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wattles. Let me hold that up one more time so you can see. This is the trilogy book, and we're reading out of the three, The Science of Getting Rich. And you are probably seeing this in the Be President of Your Own Life group, but you may be seeing this on Facebook, on YouTube. And what it's all about is learning how to do things in a certain way and generating a true belief, a knowing. There is no monopoly on opportunity. Getting rich is not just your right, it's your responsibility. And so we're continuing now, finishing up the chapter on is their monopoly on opportunity. There is not. And then we're going to be getting into the first principle of the science of getting rich. So, finishing this chapter off, the universe is a great living presence, always moving inherently toward more life and fuller functioning. Makes sense, right? Everything is growing and expanding for more life, more functioning. Nature is formed for the advancement of life. Its impelling motive is the increase of life. For this cause, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict himself and nullify his own works. You are not kept poor by lack of supply of riches. It is a fact that I shall demonstrate a little further on that even the resources of the formless supply are at the command of the man or woman who will act and think in a certain way. All right, that finishes is their monopoly. We're now going to be getting into the first principle in the science of getting rich. Here we go. Thought is the only power which can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. Little recap: formless substance, it's everything in everything and everywhere. It is what makes everything. As we visited just a little bit in the last video, he points out that this thinking stuff, this formless substance, and is now backed up by science, is everything. It's the smallest denominator of everything. And so he's going to build on that now. All right. Original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every form and process you see in nature is the visible expression of a thought in original substance. As the formless stuff thinks of a form, it takes that form. As it thinks of a motion, it makes that motion. That is the way all things were created. We live in a thought world, which is part of a thought universe. The thought of a moving universe extended throughout formless substance, and the thinking stuff moving and according to that thought took the form of systems of planets and maintains that form. Thinking substance takes the form of its thought and moves according to the thought. Holding the idea of a circling system of suns and worlds, it takes the form of these bodies and moves them as it thinks. Thinking the form of a slow-growing oak tree, it moves accordingly and produces the tree. Through centuries, those centuries may be required to do the work. In creating the formless seems to move according to the lines of motion it has established. The thought of an oak tree does not cause the instant formation of a full-grown tree, but it does start in motion the forces which will produce the tree along established lines of growth. Now, he's laying down a real important pattern of how things happen right here. Every thought of form held in thinking substance causes the creation of the form. but always, or at least generally, along lines of growth and action already established. The thought of a house of a certain construction, if it were impressed upon formless substance, might not cause the instant formation of the house, but it would cause the turning of creative energies already working in trade and commerce into such channels as to result in the speedy building of the house. And if there were no existing channels through which the creative energy could work, then the house would be formed directly from primal substance without waiting for the slow process of the organic and inorganic world. But there is a process, there is established channels, and he's saying, well, let's go on. No thought of form can be impressed upon original substance without causing the creation of the form. Man, here we go. Man is a thinking center and can originate thought. All the forms that man fashions with his hands must first exist in his thought. He cannot shape a thing until he has thought that thing. And so far, man has confined his efforts wholly to the work of his hands. He has applied manual labor to the world of forms, seeking to change or modify these already existing. He has never thought of trying to cause the creation of new forms by impressing his thoughts upon formless substance. Well, some have, but generally no. When man has a thought form, he takes material from the forms of nature and makes an image of the form which is in his mind. Hello, that makes sense. He has, so far, made little or no effort to cooperate with formless intelligence, to work with the Father. He has not dreamed that he can do what he seeth the Father doing. Man reshapes and modifies existing forms by manual labor. He has given no attention to the question whether he may not produce things from formless substance by communicating his thoughts to it. Time to give some thought to that. We propose to prove that he may do so, to prove that any man or woman may do so, and show how. As our first step, we must lay down 3 fundamental propositions. First, we assert that there is one original formless stuff or substance from which all things are made. That's true. We know that as a scientific fact now. All the seemingly many elements are but different presentations of one element. All the many forms found in organic and inorganic nature are but different shapes made from the same stuff. And this stuff is thinking stuff. A thought held in it produces the form of the thought. Thought in thinking substance produces shapes. Man is a thinking center capable of original thought. That's huge. If man can communicate his thought to original thinking substance, he can cause the creation or formation of the thing he thinks about. To summarize this, and then this will end this, we're going a little long here. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. It may be asked, if I can prove these statements, and without going into details, I answer that I can do so by logic and experience. And we will end it here. Let me just say, for those of you by now going, wow, this is like woo-woo, way out there stuff. No, it isn't. Because he already said, we work with our hands, but it starts with a thought. that thought reaches out into formless substance. As it does, that formless substance reaches out and communicates with other people, other resources. And I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I don't want you to bail on this, right? You think things and you hold those thoughts, they will become created. Not just magically and mystically before your very eyes, but through what we personally call the network. Communicating into that network creates actions. So, tomorrow we continue. Thanks for hanging in. Be president of your own life. Get an attitude. You need to be that. Bye for now.